control these temperatures because it gets so hot around here. And yeah, so I'm your host, Leventus, and this time I'm not alone in the commentary box, as I have the man with me that really doesn't need any introduction. It's King-Kodiak.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. We are indeed here at the desert. It is Dubai in the middle of the night. It is 1 AM trackside time. So this time the drivers have got to do with limited visibility. They may have lights on the front, but it doesn't give as much visibility as they would like. And there's not as much track lighting actually at Dubai as you might think. Yes, they do endurance racing at Dubai, but the track lighting is not consistent throughout the track. So if they have a problem, particularly if they suffer damage, then they may well lose their headlights, and that will add to the difficulties that they face. But we have got 25 drivers with us tonight for this race. It should be something quite special. Capo is our current championship leader. He is in his distinctive black and orange Lamborghini. A solid result last time out at the Nürburgring. And with 2 wins to his name, consistency is leading the way for him with 141 points. But with a win last time out at Nürburgring, it is this man, Dor, in the Audi, jumping up to second place then. Did not do well at Nordschleife a week before, but jumps up very well courtesy on that win. Third place in our championship is, if I can find him, there he is. It is Murphy, or Murph87, in the Porsche. 3 different cars, 3 different drivers, of course, in our top 3. Very nicely done. So 4th last time out, and it propelled him up to 3rd place. And then it is, do we have a grease monkey with us? Yes, we do. There he is. He is in 4th. And first to 4th separated by 52 points as we are hitting the halfway stage in the championship. Anything is possible, and the only person with actually back-to-back wins in this season has actually been Capo. So that just goes to show that it really is quite a diverse grid. Whilst it's a little bit Lambo heavy, that is really not essentially meaning anything, as our drivers are putting on great performances, and I think this championship is going to go down to the wire if this performance is anything to go by.
And this looks really good. As you can see, Dor, they're putting it in first last time around with the wet race at Ostersleben in Germany. So Dor seemingly he just did an incredible undercut, I think it was, because he just suddenly won the race. He just suddenly snapped into first place, and I didn't really catch what happened. I thought I was following the first place battle, but I wasn't. So Dor just smashing that race, and then I think if he could have gotten a better race at the Nürburgring, he would certainly be in contention for the first place with Capo there. So might just, if he keeps this momentum going, I think Capo might just get a real battle in the end here. It's going to go down to the wire. Last race around, it was really tight in from 3rd place and further down as well. It's been spreading a little bit now, as you can see Murph coming into 3rd, and then Grease Monkey, and then the tightness, it tightens up again with the Grease Monkey and Dopey and further back there. So it's as you can see there, down like through I have the standings up on the screen, it's battles all over the place. So looking on the team leaders now, we have Pitty and I'm going to look back on so it's Dor and Pitty that are in the championship lead in terms of the team championship, excuse me. Both of them finishing consistently up in the top 5, top 10. So that's pushed them into 1st place, with a good margin to DLMTAE Motorsports with Capo and where is he? Lindholt in 22nd position there. So Capo's teammate pulling him back a little bit there. And then in 3rd place we have the Audi, it's the BMWs of GC Racing with Dopey and Migzor.
Awesome stuff. Our current pole sitter is TM Touring in the Mercedes with a 156. Wow, that's determined. That was coming through. I think it was turn 6. Unfortunately, with the no, that's not turn 6 at all. That was turn 10. He just came through, and that is turn 12. He now finds himself coming through 2nd. It's Zero Stefan. Wow, that's a pretty good result so far for the Lambo. Again, a lot of tail wagging going on Capo relegated to third with that 156.7. The Ripper had such a dominating performance at the Nordschleife, and the rain really undoing such a great response. Bear in mind, he missed the first 2 rounds of this season, and then jumped straight in with a brilliant result in Nords, which sadly was rather undone at Nürburgring. We have a new pole time, 155.765 by the Audi of Dopey. Dopey finds himself in 4th place in the 5th place, beg your pardon, in the championship, 82 on the board. So a decent effort there for him. Who else can we find? Pitty has a time on the board. Pitty dropped to 7th position following a difficult round at Oschersleben last time around. So he 156, treble 8 for the Audi. Grease Monkey relegated now down to 8th position, and that's Ripper jumped up to 2nd now. 155.920, 3 minutes left on the clock. That's a breaking ball gone. The track is very, very busy, although a number of people have jumped back to the pits now. I think Ripper was, or a few people were just caught out there by how busy the track was. A lot of people in very, very short succession there. But yeah, Dopey with a 1.5 tenths lead over Ripper, and then it is 4 tenths to Touring. So now it is Audi leads Lambo, leads Mercedes. Oh, Excol has jumped up there into 4th now, 156.414, just 0.05 of a second quicker than Zero Stefan. So we really are seeing the top of the field really get tight.
Yep, Dopey and his teammate Mixhorn there in 6th place. This could really... Oh, that's... just interesting note on the oversteering condition here. As you can see, all these cars sliding about. I talked a little bit with the Kusa. He's a Tier 1 driver now, and he usually gives me info on the races, so shout out to him for that. It's really helpful. And he said that the racers gonna go for hards tonight. It's probably gonna be for the wear as well as the temperatures, because we're in Dubai. It's gonna be really hot, and he said that with some setup work you could really get faster instead of the default setup here, because the understeer setup is going to help. And I think that might just be true, considering we see so many people just sliding about in the qualifying session. Of course they're going all out now in the qualifying session, but might tone it down a little bit for the race.
New pole time. It's Capo once again. 155.741, 24 thousandths separates him and Dopey at the top of the table. I think Dopey is doesn't look particularly quick, so he's coming through turn 6. I believe it's turn 6. That was not at all turn 6. That was actually turn 9. Oh no, was actually none of the above. There was actually 14 he was coming through. I need to get my bearings again with Dubai. It's actually been a little while since I've commented on Dubai, so I just need to get my bearings with it again. As Dopey crosses the line, does he improve? He does not. Let's follow, as we tend to do, we'll follow a lap of Dubai with one of the front runners then. Oh, and that's exceedingly deep into turn 1. That's not how you would normally take that through to. And he's already backed out of that one. That was a bit of a shame. What about Touring? Where be he? That is the banked left-hander of turn 9. Onto the long straight, that roaring, mighty Mercedes. Streaming on down the straight. You'll see a fair amount of slipstreaming going on in this particular area. This will be one of the common overtaking spots. You've got a long straight leading into an exceedingly heavy braking zone. And wow! You see how Touring through the nose into the corner.
Driving that Mercs like it should be driven, and unfortunately, I for some reason I thought it was the AI taking over there with the camera. But
no, sorry, that was me jumping away.
So,
no, we're still looking at Touring.
Yeah, so qualifying session is now complete, and the times are so Touring in 5th. Shame he couldn't race in the first 2 or 3 races. I think so. I think 2. Yeah, Touring is fast. Yeah, 2 races. So Touring is fast. It would be cool to see him fight it out in the end there, but.
He's got 82 points. Bear in mind, he's done only 2 races in the season. It's a 3rd and a 2nd. And in the off season, when we had the touring cars between seasons 9 and 10, Touring was right there and very nearly took the championship from Andres. It was and Touring jumps up to 3rd, 155.851, just 1/10 off the top spot. So the top 4 separated by less than 2 tenths of a second. WMDR Martin, he is out there in the Lamborghini, still on a hot lap. 156.5 to improve. Oh, and again, that looks very, very slippery. A lot of people going for a very oversteery setup, but this kind of comes back to what you were saying earlier about whether people are going to choose an understeer or an oversteery setup. From what I'm seeing, it looks like either just very slippery and no one's getting heat with their tyres, or it looks like people are going for an oversteery setup.
Yeah, it looks like it could actually help with those turns though to turn the car, but it might just not be worth, because that turn one is just going to be brutal if you get the oversteer there. You're just going to get thrown off the track and it's going to destroy your tires for the next lap at least. Oh,
wow!
Talk about it. Yeah,
he's having fun.
So that's Martin, our pad driver. If you go on board with him, it's a little bit too late now, but yeah. He is on a pad, and I of course I know that there's so many fast guys on the pad, but I've tried racing with a pad and I'm so bad I can't imagine how to do league racing with it. But yeah.
So Capo with the pole time, then with Dopey 2, Touring 3, Ripper 4, Merv 5, X-Gold 6, 07 7, Migzorn 8, WMDR Martin stayed in 9th, Lindholt 10, Grease Monkey 11, Pity 12, Door 13, J Cool 14, Matster 15, Flash 16, Storm 17, Midweek Comer 18, Kravgar 19 is a new entrant to this league, Neptune down there in 20th. Now I'm going to try something. I'm going to risk rejoining the session.
Oh, okay. Because of the timings.
To try and make my race feed box work, which just gives me more information.
Yeah. For those of you that, excuse me.
I'm umming and ahhing. Shall I risk it? I'm just going to double check whether I have the option to rejoin off of you, because that would be a little embarrassing if I couldn't come. I'm sure I've tried it before, but it's always one of these things that I prefer to kind of just remind myself that it still works. I haven't done this trick in a little while, so I'm just going to go on.
Yeah, it's just that I remember you can join again in the qualifying session, but you might be able to join in the this pre 2 minute.
Yeah.
For the. Yeah.
Well, I can rejoin because I've already been assigned the director spot. So you can actually join the session late, but not as a driver. You can join as a spectator. If you wanted to join as a driver, you have to do it before the timeout that you just mentioned, 2 minutes before the final session.
I see. Yeah, but for those of you that don't know, when the session changes between the qualifying and into the race, we have a little tool that we use. It's the race feed. It's a little box we have on the bottom right of the screen, and it really helps us with the action going on. So if there's a lot of battles going on, we get some info when people pass each other down in the other positions.
That's right, yeah. And unfortunately, this little box breaks in between sessions. Now, those that saw the T2 stream last week, when I was seconded up to Tier 1 to fill in for Fizzy last week for Nürburgring. Of course, Insul had the box to himself, so you would have seen what the race director side looks like, and you'll see the race feed box just doesn't work. But if you rejoin the session, as I have done now, I should have, and indeed I do, I have a working race feed box. So here we are then. We are technically in race conditions, but we have the parade lap. For those unfamiliar with how this session works, we have got the first lap is done under these conditions, where the field proceeds around the track at 80 kilometers an hour, 120 kilometers an hour, 80 miles an hour, up until the final sector, where they will reform the 2x2 line, and they will then slow down to 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour, to which then they will be led around to the start finish straight by Capo, who is our poleman, who actually, ironically, on my screen is actually listed as last for some reason. Is he appearing first on yours? Is he appearing first on your position list?
Yeah.
Okay, just a bug on my side then. There he is. He very clearly is in first. This used to happen if a driver joined late. They would appear as last. So that's a weird little thing. I hope it's only a problem for me. I just have to remember that Capo was actually out front.
Yeah.
So if we have a look at the speedo, you'll see that they are doing, because I always have mine on miles an hour, so it's around about 80 miles an hour, 120 kilometers an hour. Once they get past, it'll be around turn 12. They're coming up to turn 10 now. There we are. Lovely shot straight down the headlights of everybody.
Would you be willing to turn on the map?
I
think it's so useful because yes, this is one twisty track.
Isn't it just? So there's Murphy in 5th, so you'll have an idea of the start procedure. So they're now coming up to turn 12. It's the next slow right-hander. And it'll be soon after here that they will reform. You see those, and there you can now start to see the 202 line is starting to be reformed. So the odd numbers will be on the right, the evens on the left. And the speed will, once they kind of got into position, they will slow the speed down to 80 kilometers an hour, 50 miles an hour. There it is. And they will follow this formation around to the start-finish line. And it's at any moment up to the start-finish line, or beyond the start-finish line, that this man, Capo, can then decide to floor it to signify the beginning of the race.
Yes, indeed. I just did a little counter, and I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hairpins on this track, so I can really see why people would run a understeer setup here. But as you said, that yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they tone it down a little bit in the race now. And here he comes then, Capo approaching the acceleration zone. So he is about to start the race. We're going to try to listen for engine notes.
Oh, look at how close Touring is to the back of Capo then. We are racing, and thankfully Capo is now listed as first on my screen, so I don't have to remember that one. Streaming on down to turn 1. Here we're going to see a lot of jockeying for positions, but turn 1 is always the danger zone. Here's a good camera angle to look at. Let's see if everybody makes it through. Looks fairly clean. Oh, just I was about to say, looks fairly clean. That's Touring. That's had a problem then. He's jumped was pushed onto the infield. Now down to 6th for the Mercedes. Big clump in the rear of the Porsche. That's Zero Stefan and the Lamborghini. Everybody seems to have made it through okay. Although, oh no, Grease Monkey's had a problem. He's fallen down to that last position along with Midweek Coma. So there's been a contact between those two cars, but Capo still leads the way.
Yeah, shame for Midweek Coma there. He's been really fast in earlier rounds as well, so his race is certainly destroyed now, considering there's so many racers tonight, and it's going to be really hard to catch those positions back again. Going up the field, as we can see now, the Capo in the lead with almost a second gap now to Dopey and the Ripper behind. So yeah, Capo having some clean air now and battling going on further back in the field with Murph and with Stefan. Oh, Murph is on the right actually, and that's Stefan. Yeah, Stefan. Then we have Touring there that made that mistake. Touring might actually have even more of an oversteer setup because of those tires, so it might just not be happy after turn 1. Ready to come onto that little straight again into yet another hairpin.
Look how closely condensed the back of the field is. Always, as you imagine, does take several laps for these guys to kind of filter out and get into the rhythm. They are always under pressure for the first few laps. So there is battling going on there. Murphy under a lot of pressure there by Zero Stefan. Touring's lost another position. He's down to 7th now. WMDR Martin's had a great start from 9th up to 6th place then for the pad-wielding Lamborghini. We're right on board with Zero Stefan as we go to the roof cam, so let's see slightly more. So now as they cross the line, then starting to set their race relative pace. Capo is 7/10 ahead of Dopey. 1 and 2. Ripper is 1.5 seconds behind the lead. But Zero Stefan now starting to fall a little bit off the back of Murph in the Porsche. So the top guys started to filter out. Midweek Coma has brought his car in, unfortunately. Oh, as I cut away, I think it was a bit of a pass going on there. It was indeed. That's Touring, and then WMDR Martin, the Mercedes, doing an outside move, coming through 4 and 5. He's now going to try and get... Oh, he has indeed. He's got that done long before, coming into the braking zones for 6 and 7. Such an awkward pair of corners. She's trying to brake and turn at the same time. That's always a corner I get very, very wrong on this track. And yeah, so that is Touring back up to 6th position now. He's got a second between himself and Zero Stefan. So starting to get back into his rhythm after a pretty bad start. Mick Zorn is a few tenths off the back of WMDR Martin. You know the exclamation marks that appear to signify close battling. Look at that lot. And look how defensive WMDR Martin goes. Unless he was just going for an early apex. That was a very defensive line. But made the tail really twitch on that Lamborghini coming out of turn 10.
Touring, excuse me, that's Mixhorn behind him there. I think I said earlier on that Mixhorn was in a BM, but
you did.
Yep, that was wrong. So the GC guys are running Audis, and Audis and Lambos are seemingly really strong on this track. After chatting to the Tier 1 guys, and the M6 in particular is not so strong. And considering the M6 has the same layout as the Mercedes, it might not be the optimal one for this. So touring certainly up there in that field, 6th place now, might have a hard time as he is surrounded by Audis and Lambos.
Yes, a big contingent of Audis and Lamborghinis. 156.9 on the board for Capo. They're now really getting into the proper race pace. Dopey was barely even a 10th behind on the last lap. 157.0 for the second Audi. Then the Ripper. So it's Lambo, Audi, Lambo as our top three. Porsche of Murphy. There he is, a little bit behind. He's got 1.7 seconds between himself and the Ripper. But a second behind him, Zero Stefan. But there is Touring. Touring with a 157.6 was 1.2 seconds quicker than Zero Stefan. So now Touring starting to get actually close to the leader's pace. And exactly what you were saying earlier, Insel, as the Merc is apparently not apparently so strong. And TM Touring really doing well to get the performance out of it.
Yeah. Just looked into the stats for a moment here, and I can see that Dopey is usually qualifying in 10th position now, so Dopey has had a fantastic race at the moment. Interesting to see if he can keep it together. He's setting fast lap times as well, matching Capo almost. So here we look at Mixhorn, and almost touch with Martin.
That was close.
You mentioned that Martin went really defensive last time around there, and I think looks like he's done it again, and that just put Mixhorn in the back of him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think WWR Martin seems to be struggling a little bit. Oh, and you just saw as we jumped on top of the roof of Mixhorn just how that car just twitched around. So, yeah, he got a massive snap of oversteer coming out of turn 12. So manages to keep that one pointing in the direction he wants now. Coming through the long and slow and very, never-ending, very clumsy turn 14. Looking behind, that is Lindholt, X-Cole and Pitty, with a Flask in short succession as well. Lambo, Audi in short succession, and that's X-Cole looking to dive on the inside. He's going to lose pace. Pitty then looks like he's going to challenge for that 10th position, and he's side by side. That one's going to drag all the way down to turn 1, but he doesn't look like Pitty's going to... I'm wondering, is he going to slot back in line, or is he going to dive on the inside? He kind of thought about it, but decided not to commit to that as S4 Howie brings his car in, one of the Z4s. Oh no! That's Flask, that's the M6. Every time I click on his name, it moves. Oh no, he's had a trouble at turn 1. He was right behind the battle we were looking at. So the M6 just, again, echoing what you were saying earlier, the M6 is not too comfortable at this track. We already have someone on the penalty board. It's TPW. Coordinated 2-second penalty for TBW.
Yeah, considering which way that Flask was pointing there, it could just be that oversteer we were talking about in turn 1 there. It's so brutal if you get it. He was just pointing exactly the other way around. That's Touring making almost a move on Stefan. Stefan not covering it. Touring still hot on his tail though. Coming up to those, that really tight hairpin coming up now. Will Stefan go defensive? He does not.
Oh, look how wide that Porsche is. Murphy then could be his chosen line, but Zero Stefan was a second behind Murphy. The Lambos then closed that down. Actually, the fastest man on track last time was the Ripper with a 56.4. The next fast... Oh, that's a big impact. That's going to be a steward's inquiry, I'd have thought. That was very hot then on the inside for the Lamborghini. 2 positions for the Merc. There is Murphy making his way back on track. And sliding straight back off track, unfortunately for him. So back up to 4th then for the Mercedes. He's got 2.6 to close down to Dope. Well, there is the top 3 in that shot. So he's 5.8 to the lead for the Mercedes to close down. And X-Cole has come in. That's a very early stop indeed. Loads of fuel in the tank. So that would be a damage-related stop, I would have thought. But,
he's actually so far back, he might just get out in free air though, so it might just be tactical, but yeah, of course we probably have some damage as well.
Neptune in, so he's bringing the McLaren in as well. They don't tend to run close for fuel, so it's not likely they would need to stop for fuel particularly. Oh, Dopey had a terrible lap last time, a 59.1, so he's lost second place to the Ripper last time around, so the two Lambos now up at the top. We'll see then how he is able to recover. 2.4 behind, 2.5 behind is Touring, and we know how hard he's been pushing for the last few laps. But a three-way battle. This is for 8th position. That is Pitty on board with him, then Lindholt directly ahead, and Migzorn is the car ahead, and then WMBR Martin is not too far ahead, so potential four-way battle there, and that is Migzorn attacking WMBR Martin. So he's having to really go defensive.
There almost, yeah, defensive there almost every time. So yeah, Martin. Oh yeah, Martin taking the defensive yet again, and yeah, shutting the door. Migzorn not really too close to do anything, but Martin really started sacrificing lap speed here, as Migzorn isn't so, he's not like so close that he can make a pass easily. So might just see. Oh yep, there's
the pad.
Yep.
That must have been hellishly hard in the wet last week.
Oh yes.
I mean, I hold my. We were saying it earlier. I do not know how he does it. I do not know how he is as quick as he is on the pad. I've raced against WMBR Martin before in the Ginetta G40 league we had as an off-season league a few seasons ago. So I know how quick he is, and it's unbelievable that he does that on a pad. Oh, Ripper was lost several seconds last time around, a 2-minute lap time then for the Lamborghini. So Dopey now back up into second. Those two are swapping that podium position. But of course, whilst they're doing that, there you've just seen TM Touring in the background as we have a couple more people in the pits. Ryan Winters, not a name I'm familiar with, so welcome to you, with Flask in the M6 directly behind. There goes the Lamborghini. You hear that distinctive roar. With the Ripper keeping the pressure on Dopey, but they're of course having their own battle as Dorr brings his car into the pits as well. So a lot of people getting their pit stops out of the way early, interestingly.
Yeah, it might just be trying to get out in free air, but if everyone stops at the same time, it's not going to work though. You're just going to get out at the same time as everyone else. So,
no, it just bunches the field up after a pit stop. But you do run the risk if you encounter damage, if you have make a mistake, then you will have to pit again. So it is a risky thing to do, but it can pay off. We've seen it in Tier 1 as well. I've commentated on drivers that have done that and won the race as a result of bringing the car out and just getting the pit stop out of the way. And then as they're coming through the field, everyone else then pits pretty much ahead of them. So it can work out very nicely, but you are very heavily reliant on everyone else kind of doing a similar strategy. Oh, the Audi was wide. Such a long corner at turn 14. It feels like it never ends, but there's only realistically one way through it, and Dopey was a tad wide coming into that. You want to stay tight, in my opinion. You want to stay tight to the apex, so you get a decent run through 50, which is then a right-hander, to maximise your exit speed down that short straight to the final turn. Into turn. Go on.
Yeah, it's just so I was thinking about all these hairpins again, because it's so brutal. If you it's actually tightening up a little bit here with the Ripper trying to cover up the middle there. I was just gonna say that the hairpins, if you get the entry a little bit wrong, it's just gonna mess up the whole corner, as you can see there with that the going wide last lap around. Oh
wow, that's one way to do it. Just throw the nodes and slam on the power. That's an interesting way of doing it. We have another person on the penalty board. It's Midweek Comey this time. He's added a 1-second penalty to his time. That may or may not hurt as the race progresses. Down there in 21st, he's been through the pits, I think. But the Ripper was the fastest man on track last time with a 57.4.
He's very fast, considering how I mean the Nürburgring Nordschleife. I was bummed actually to not be able to commentate on that, because I was just so interested to see like how the drivers would change like in pace and everything, because it's just such a brutal track, and it's 1.5 hours. So, did you really notice? Like, did they fall in lap speed? Of course, they did because of the tires, I guess. But
well, they kind of felt universally, really. But yeah, it was more mistakes that was the biggest aspect. I mean, there were very few cars. We commented, there was very few cars in a clean condition at the end. We had cars that looked rather second hand.
Oh, yeah.
So Ripper continuing. Oh, and Migzorn now getting his name on the penalty board. What's he giving himself? That's a 2-second run for Migzorn. They can be contested, but they tend not to be because they tend to be very small. There you see TM Touring just coming in the shot. There is actually Murphy in the Porsche. He's not doing too badly. Zero Stefan has brought his car in to get his pit stop done and dusted.
Really interested to know if he actually had a little bit of damage there. I think he hit the side of Murph, so I think he might. Oh, that car looks really clean now. So I think that just might have been some door banging there. So I think his car is fine.
Yeah, very short stop then for the Lamborghini. It's not mandatory to take on fuel or to change tyres. You can do so if you wish, but it's not mandatory. So any short stop like that indicates that you just kind of come to a stop, maybe done a little bit, and then it got underway again. We've seen it many times where they come to a stop, and as soon as they've stopped, they get going again, just to count the pit stop as served. This is surely going to be an opportunity for the Ripper coming into turn 10. He's got the slipstream. He's gaining on the Audi. He's going to jump onto the inside. The Audi doesn't even defend the inside line. Oh, but the Ripper doesn't go for it. He's trying to force the mistake. He didn't want to dive on the inside of the Audi.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that Dopey could take that corner so deep, considering how I think the Ripper just braked really early there.
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, so, but still, it certainly puts pressure on Dopey, though. Having cars lunge at you like this is not. Of course, this is something that the difference between drivers are. Of course, some people are just ridiculously fast and qualify and pole almost every time, but when it comes to the race,
I wonder. I think that's
just lunging out a different line there.
I think it is. It's just Dopey goes for a wider entrance into that turn 14 and then cuts back in again. So I think that's just a difference in line. The Ripper actually stays harder to the apex, then has to actually jump back to widen the widen the route through turn 15, whereas Dopey actually goes for a wider entrance to then cut back into that apex for 14. Again, the Lamborghini looking on the inside for turn 1, doesn't go for that move again. He's just really keeping the pressure on. All the while, Capo now 3.8 in the lead. Oh, look how close that is. You go on board with the Lamborghini. Let's bear in mind that whilst the drivers can see behind them, what they tend to see is just a wall of white. So it does make judging where their opponents are a little bit more tricky. Shaggy Dan brings his car in from the 15th position. So another pit stop served. Coming through turn 9. Again, because this is banked, it does help a little bit keep the momentum up. A decent drive on the exit of that corner as well for Dopey.
Seems like the gap increased a little bit there, so
I don't think that's going to change this time around. And you can see Touring and Murphy in the background. Murphy with the yellow lights on the Porsche. Oh, that was Dopey got a little bit out of shape actually coming through 10. And the Ripper really had nowhere to go. Slight touches isn't really going to make too much difference. And on they go in their same positions. Of course, that is going to help Touring closing a little bit on them. Just about to see the Mercedes in the background. Now hear it as it comes past the camera. So he would have gained quite a bit of time on these two, but not anywhere near close enough to make an attack yet. He's going to want another mistake. And here we go again. The use of the different lines, but the Audi is very wide this time. That's way too wide coming through 14. He tried to hang on to the inside of 15, but that's the difference in the line. That's why you want to maximise your exit speed from 15. The Audi tried to hang on to the apex, but you just cannot do that at the speed you need to hang on to the position. And TM Touring is straight on the case then. That's less than a second between himself and Dopey. This train has now got 3 long.
Yeah, I should have said this earlier. I was actually thinking about it because Touring has actually had a fantastic recovery drive, considering he had an incident, and that's how you drive the Mercedes. You just throw that front end in and hope that it sticks. And as you can see here on the roof of Turing, it's going to get interesting to see down in the hairpins here if he does the same thing. Yeah, more people in the pits. We have Lindholt and Matster.
Yep. So, I think Master's got himself a penalty as well. Yep, he does. He's giving himself a track limit penalty. So a few people shuffling around as a result of those pit stops going on. Yeah, Turing then in striking range of the podium now. It's still a long way to go. We're only on a lap 11 of 30. So a considerable distance still to cover. Anything can happen. We've seen it many times where seemingly comfortable positions are undone in the blink of an eye. Look at that. 2, 3, 4. There's the yellow lights of Murphy in 5th. So Turing now right in this mixture. 7 tenths. Separate himself and Dopey. So Dopey can't just concentrate on the Ripper ahead. And the Ripper is using that to his advantage. He's already opened up a gap of, a second, or nearly a second, between the Audi and the Lamborghini. So Dopey doing his best to try and hang on to the back of the Lambo whilst he's got that growling Mercedes snapping at his rear wing.
Yeah, they're coming up to that turn though, which Dopey takes so differently than compared to Dopey than, excuse me, Ripper. Here comes Turing, and it happened almost again. I mean, Dopey might... I was actually interested to see if Dopey was going to change his line there as he was passed by Ripper. But it seems like he's sticking with it, and it might just be everything Turing needs to try and pass him here. As you can see, Turing was about to looking straight on the side of Dopey's car, on the side of his car in that good old hairpin that Dopey takes so.
Wow! Several people doing a drifting effort coming through turn 1. WMDR Martin brings his Lamborghini in. He's down in 10th by the time he made that pit stop. So as the Mercedes continues to pressure the back of the Audi, getting further down, Storm on the back of Jay, so the Audi and the Lambo battling for 8th position. So these two then have, I think these two have not long been in this battle, or if they have, I haven't long noticed, but we still have battles going on through the field. Of course, we've been primarily concentrating on the battle with Dopey et al. Around him. Ooh, wow, Storm's Lambo got very twitchy just at the point he's trying to brake. You are trying to brake and turn at the same time to get in to that turn 7. That's an interesting choice of line. Storm staying very hard to the apex, whereas Jay went for a much wider line. And that wider line will definitely help, because then you've got this long straight to try and capitalise on additional pace. And there you go, you can see the Lambo's not gaining on the Audi at all as a result of the difference in line coming through that banked turn 9. Oh, wow, that's again the Lambo really closing in. But I'm keeping an eye on these two. It's half a second apart still. Dopey hasn't been able to check that Mercedes, and Ripper is gone. He's well, there he is. That's the second now between Ripper and Dopey. Dopey just has to focus on trying to defend from Mercedes, but with the pace that Turing has had all race long, that's going to be a very hard job to do.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Capo. He's been running away now. The gap is 5 seconds, and yeah. So I was just looking at the lap times again. I was looking at Door. He's in 24th position, and that's actually Turing making a move on Dopey.
Get a look. He wasn't quite close enough to make that one stick, but he is making his intentions very known. Look how defensive Dopey went, coming through 2, 3, 4 and 5. Well, they're coming through 4 and 5 now, but you saw where Dopey felt he had to position that Audi. It's right in the middle of the track. Coming through 6 and 7. What can Turing do here? He wants that decent exit through turns 8 and 9. He come through 8. His Exodus.
This turn is so important.
It is, and look how much tighter Turing took that one. That's really going to help him.
Oh yeah, he's so close. He's going to get the toe now. He's moving up.
That's job done. That's job done. There's no way the Audi can fight that.
Yeah, very smooth, brilliant overtake there. Not anything, so clean.
Yeah, Dopey knew that one was done and has allowed that one to go. Exodus, unfortunately, has given himself a pit lane speeding penalty. So 10 seconds on the board for Exodus. Those ones tend not to be removed. unless it's unless either he's been forced to speed, if you're nudged, for instance, or if it's a bug of some description. But generally, it's driver error that causes those ones.
Yeah, this whole destroying that thing, considering how it's 10 seconds, it's like considering you're fighting for scraps out on the track, and then you just blow it out on the pit entry. So it's something that you really should respect.
Oh, jumped to Dopey. Oh, he's in. Yep. I didn't see him jump onto the pit lane entry there. I just saw the time suddenly jump up to the Audi now, bringing his car. And there's a big battle back here. This is TBW, Midweek Homer, Exodus, and Flask. That is 18, 19, 20, and 21st. All fighting for their respective positions, and all of them have a penalty of some description, as Storm brings his car in as well. Oh, look how close the Lambo and the Mercedes get. That's Exodus and Midweek Homer. Again, it's actually difficult to ride on board with these cars when they're cornering because they are so twitchy.
Yeah. I mean, I was really expecting more spins to happen because you could see in the qualifying, but I think they might have just toned it down a little bit. But yeah, I'm
amazed that they're keeping these really twitchy setups under control.
Considering it's Project Cars as well, I don't know about you, but I mean, I find it really hard to catch slides in Project Cars. I got some help from Shooter though in Tier 1. Oh, that's really close to this. Yeah, he helped me with the force feedback and everything. So I mean, that actually was so important. I was able to catch slides much better now, and it looks like Midweek Homer is trying to weave a little bit there, but Exode is just mounted to the rear bumper on him to try and get the draft, and here he goes on the inside. Oh, this might not just, so...
Exodus really braked early there.
Yeah, Midweek Homer going wide there, so...
Oh, we've lost Pity! We've lost Pity! Oh, what a shame! Pity up in 7th in the championship, was 2nd in the Nords, and sadly he has retired from the race. And Shaggy Dan has put his name on the penalty board as well. Oh wow, another big twitch there. And there right behind is Ryan Winch in the Lamborghini, so this train's getting ever longer. Although Midweek Homer is... Oh sorry, TBW has broken away a little bit from this particular fight.
He's in the Merc, isn't he?
TBW is indeed in the Mercedes. Oh, look at that. There goes again. That's Exodus. This time on the inside coming into turn 10. Can he slow it down? Very, very well respected by the Mercedes, but very nearly collects Flask. And that is that's the thing when when you've got a tightly condensed field, it's so easy to you focus on one car. When the move is done with the first car, you kind of don't anticipate there being another one there. Oh, switchback move possibly by Flask. Jacobs brought his car in.
Well, that's someone else also in the mix there. That's Ryan.
Yeah, it was Ryan Winch. He's actually got a pretty good view of all the battling going on. He's going for that. He's going for a similar line that Dopey was using, going for a bit of a wider line, possibly through 14, but got a little bit put off, I think, by Midweek Homer in the Hot Wheels livery Mercedes. Is he going to have a look on the inside of 16? Yeah,
yes.
He made his intention known and then committed possibly a little late to it, but was very cautious coming through that last turn. Was very respectful, trying not to take anybody with him. Flask and Exodus. Well, Flask is in the slipstream of Exodus, and Ryan is defending from door. And the Mercedes goes on the inside of the Lamborghini, but gets very sideways. He's had to back out of that. Midweek Homer's, wow, again getting very twitchy behind Ryan Winch. Oh, and there goes Flask and Exodus again. Side by side now, through 4, through 5, through 6. No, the Lamborghini's managed to get back ahead of the M6. Wow, goodness me, Flask is not letting that one go at all.
Absolutely not. I just noticed that both occasions when Midweek Homer was passed, it looked like he had a lot of understeer, excuse me. And then his car is twitching then after turn 1, so it looks like his setup might just not be entirely balanced, because when he really needs it to, that oversteer could actually really help him there when he was about to get past, as I would rotate his car, as he just went wide in both those turns. So
yep, could well be. Could well be. So in case you're wondering why we're looking at battles towards the tail of the field, it's basically because our top 7 are very much spread out. None of them are in a immediate battle for position at the moment, but that can of course change as we are hitting the halfway stage in this race. You can see Flask maintaining the pressure in his M6 on the Lamborghini of Exodus. TW you can see a little bit further down the road coming into turn 14 now is clear of immediate pressure. Again the M6 looking on the inside. Whoa, that was too much. That was a little bit too much sideways there from Flask, but manages to keep it in, and that's TBW bringing his car in. I think it's TBW that we just saw. We'll know in a minute when the pit marker comes on. It was indeed. So TBW choosing now to get his pit stop done. And there you can see that's Door that's joining the back of this field with... Is that Shaggy Down right behind them? It is. Shaggy Down's not too far off the back of that pack either, so that could well condense. Actually, the closest battle we have towards the front is actually this one. WMBR Martin on the back of Storm, but that battle is about a second apart. Next one down is Grease Monkey and Mazda, the two Lamborghinis having their battle coming through turn 9. And then onto that straight, but again Mazda a little bit too far back to make anything happen this time around. And then it is this big battle that we've been keeping an eye on with Flask, Ryan. Actually, yeah, something's happened there. Exodus has fallen to the middle of this train now. That's Flask and Winch Ryan ahead of him. So as we've looked away, he's had an issue of some description. He's got Door 1.5 behind. There's a bit of a gap behind the green Lamborghini. He's got midweek coma in very short order as well. But this battle rages on. Well, there you go. So basically 2 lots of 3 with Shaggy Down not too far behind. And again, Exodus gets very twitchy coming through turn 10.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the Door. The last lap around, he was actually faster than the 12 guys ahead of him. So Door, I expect him to charge through the field here. He was in 24th, he's now in 20th. So yeah, he's gonna be. He has pitted as well, so he might just be in the top 10 effectively. At the end of the race, we're about just over halfway done, and Kravgar is in the pits now.
Indeed, he is in his Audi. And again, fairly short stop for him, so he's going to be... I wonder, is he going to be in this pack? No, he'll be out. He'll be out long before this pack gets to him. There goes Neptune.
Very optimal there. Of course, he has that guy not too far ahead of him, but the train come out in that kind of area instead of the very tight train here. Instead is so massive in terms of race pace. Nobody making a move into turn 1.
No, not as yet. Everyone behaving themselves. So yeah, Kravgar coming out in 16th, just behind Neptune in that distinctive McLaren, sole McLaren runner in this season. But Flask now drives this train. M6, Lambo, Audi. And then it's Mercedes and M6. Touring is in. So Touring then has got towards the front. He was again keeping a leader's pace, but was around about where he's now. Obviously, that timing gap getting much bigger. That's a strange look. I don't think he did overshoot his pit box. I think that's just a visual issue there. And a very short stop for the Mercedes as well. So
actually coming out in really clean air as well.
Where's it going to be in relation to Dopey, I wonder, because it was with Dopey that he was fighting. Here comes Dopey coming through 16. No, he should clear Dopey, I think.
Yeah, it's such a long pit lane though.
That's true. Oh, he's not. He's now off the pit lane limiter. And there you can see him on the right-hand side. That's fairly close. So Touring is going to have some defending to do. Oh, wow.
Yeah, Dopey's momentum here, as Touring's tires are, of course, not too far off operating temperature, but it might just throw him off a little bit here. So Dopey might just be able to catch Touring here.
And they just see Zero Stefan in short order as well. So though they didn't quite get into a position battle, but they're not too far apart. WMBR Martin is hanging on to the back of Storm for 9th position. And Flask has got himself a track limits penalty. Another track limits penalty. So he will have... What's his penalty up to? Well, so let's have a quick review of the penalties. 2 for Mixord, 1 for Mazda, 1 for Kravgar, 3 for Flask now. 10 for Exodus with that pit lane speed limit. Shaggy Dan 1, Midweek Coma 1, and TBW 2.
Yep, we have someone in chat, and it's my fellow co-commentator in the earlier seasons. It's Fistopheles and the Trip, and they are saying about the M6. It's about, I think, one thing that really hurts its performance here is the turbo lag that it has. And considering how many hairpins you have, you really want to get on the gas, and yeah, when that turbo kicks in, it could really be really easy to lose the rear end. It might just been what happened to Lask. He's on
Lask
the
and Door. That's very close. Well defended by the Audi, but now the M6 is going to have the inside for that bank left-hander of turn 9. Surely that's going to be advantage M6. No, Doors well defended on the outside in the Audi. And God, that's goodness me, job done for the Audi. But is Flask going to throw that on the inside of turn 10? No. Again, brilliantly defended by the Audi, but he's left the door open. It's gone too deep. Now back on the inside with the M6. That's bringing Exodus and Shaggy Dan into that mixture as well. Oh, and that M6 is everywhere. He wants desperately to get through, but not. Oh, that's close. Exceedingly close between these two. Again, they continue on their merry way. As yet unchanged, Migzorn and Murphy. Migzorn's had a problem somewhere, or perhaps Murphy's had a problem. That's a battle for third now that has resumed towards the front. And Midweek Coma has now got another penalty on the board. 2 seconds now for him.
Yeah, so I was thinking about the team championship, considering how GC racing guys of Migzorn and Dopey, both of them are one in 4th and one in 6th. I think they're just going to run away with this championship. I mean, team championship, considering how they're so consistently up in this top 10 situation here. So
yeah, true, but all it takes is one bad result to have that shuffled up. You know, if one disconnects, or one has a crash and the other one's not there, or something like that, you know, it can very quickly change. But the early indications are, I think you're absolutely right, is that team is in very short order, and Murphy is in. He brings in the lime green Porsche for his stop. Then that releases Migzorn up into 3rd position. Capo's leaving here. Capo and Ripper are leaving their stop very, very late. Oh my God, Flask! That's
driving it like he stole it.
Very, very much so. That's determined. It's very much so. Oh, Neptune's lost a position. I see that. It was a you, Fizz, asking if there's a 650 in the group. Yes, it is. There it is. As Neptune, he's lost 15th to Kravgar. Seeing a few blue flag warnings come out. Well, I am on the box. Oh, Murphy's come out in 7th after his stop, so that's behind Zero Stefan, Dopey, and Turing. And oh wow, he's actually about 5 seconds behind Zero Stefan, 4.3 behind Zero Stefan. So he's going to have some closing in to do. But yeah, Flask is I'd say he's struggling a little bit. Weather is damaged. The car looks okay from our side, but and again, there's channeling his inner drift there. He's in a rad bolt. Well, that's not the quickest way of doing it, although it is exceedingly flashy. There's Shaggy Dan in the next M6, staying on the back of Exodus in that bright green Lamborghini. But look at Ryan on the back of Door. And again, wow, great drive then from the Audi, streaming on towards turn 1. And this battle for 17th position. And Ryan's going to have to pick his moment well. Exodus in short order as well. I think that bunch could well get together again. We will see. Martin is still on the back of Storm for 9th place, but the biggest battle we've got is indeed this particular pack, and they are fighting for 17th.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Door. He is in 17th now, and this is what we expected of him. You can see that he's sacrificing lap speed. Is 1:59.5, but he's still faster, more than actually 1 second and half a second faster than the guys around him. So he is moving fairly quickly up the field. So it's going to be interesting to see where he ends up, considering how I just forgot his position in the championship. I'm gonna check it out. He's in second place, of course. Yeah, with Capo in first. So yeah, might just be Capo getting that very comfortable lead. But we've seen it earlier on in the seasons where the leader has kind of fallen off halfway through the season, and that's allowed the second place to catch up again, which happened with Scott and what was his name again? It was one of the Oscar drivers in Tier 2 in Season 9, I think. So that was a really exciting season. Yeah, so Scott, as you mentioned, as I mentioned, he's in Tier 1 now, and I guess you commentated on him?
I did indeed commentate on Scott when he was moved up to Tier 1, and I was alongside Fizzy, and wow, Flask again, tail out. Yeah, he had that blue Mercedes, and he was absolutely... He got involved in a few incidents, unfortunately, but oh my god, he was I say they were incredibly quick. Of course they were. But all of our drivers are, to be fair. I mean, I know I can't keep up with these guys. As Midweek Comet comes into the pits now in the Hot Wheels liveried Merc, he's gone out of that particular pack. And here's our leader, as he has been all race long. Ripper is stayed around. And Ripper, it's very give and take between these two, very nip and tuck, as the English phrase goes. 3.2 thereabouts between himself and the Ripper, and we have lost. Midweek Comer brought his car in to retire it.
Oh, did he crash?
No, he brought his car into the pits and retired it, which is the correct way. And Dopey's just got himself a penalty. Oh dear, that's only a single second, but we have seen those 1 second penalties make a difference before.
Oh yes, but yeah, it's actually fairly spread out now, more than usual, I would say, as we have 5th position, actually 40 seconds behind the leader now with Capo. Yeah, Capo's been setting lap time. I mean, the Ripper, though, he's catching. It was 5 seconds, I think, and then yeah, now it's 3.5.
Yeah, so that's storm. Yeah, that gap is kind of rising and falling. 1 minute Ripper is quicker, the next is Capo who's quicker. Just seen in the chat what you just said there, T-Rip. Hope you get better soon. Hope everything's okay. He was involved in an actual car incident this evening, so yeah, hope you're all right. Hope you get better soon. That's why he's not racing with us, and totally understandable. So yeah, WMDR Martin, the Pad Warrior, chasing after Storm. That sounded very much like Neptune's car. It wasn't Neptune that we just heard. It wasn't one of the Mercedes. Mazda on the back of Grease Monkey. That's battle for 12th. And Grease Monkey's not too far on the back of Jay. Our race leader is in. Capo has brought his car in. I'm assuming the Ripper has continued. He has. So what did the Ripper? So the Ripper was a 2-minute lap last time. So he lost. Oh no, beg your pardon. That was Capo's time. So 57.6 for Ripper last time. Is it a quick stop or not? That's a little bit longer than we've been seeing, but it gets underway. So bear in mind that was around about 3.5 seconds, give or take, between himself and the Ripper before the stop. So let's just keep that figure in mind. Where's Touring? No, he's nowhere near. He's just coming through the last turn. So Capital will come out very comfortably ahead of the former race leader. So his TPW, I believe, in silver Mercedes. It is indeed. Flask is still close to the back of Ryan Winch, I can see. So we still have battles going on throughout the field, but I'm keeping a keen eye on Capo, of course. The Ripper does still have to come in, I believe. So it's where the Ripper is going to filter out in relation to Capo. That's the one I'm keeping an eye on at the moment. Zero Stefan on the back of Dopey again. And technically speaking, Dopey... Oh, he's just extended that gap to over a second, but he's got to be careful because Dopey has that 1 second penalty. He could actually lose that. Even though it's such a small penalty, he could still lose that 5th position.
Yeah, that's something you have to remember, because Dopey, if he wants to fight Stefan, it's better to just try and do everything you can, because you don't really... You have kind of... I mean... I think I meant the other way around, that you could just let him go, because he already lost that position in terms of the penalty, so it's not worth it to try and defend from him, as it's kind of not worth... Here, they call it.
Storm has lost 9th position to our Pad Warrior. He's made a mistake somewhere around turn 6 and 7, and he's already 8 tenths behind WMDR Martin. So the Pad Warrior doth continue. What's going on down in 18th? Oh, that was Exodus and Shaggy Dan, I think, swapped position. The M6 was side by side with the Lamborghini. They've now swapped. Grease Monkey still on the back of Jay. Wow, that's close. That's coming into turn 10. The ACR liveried Audi sticking hard to that apex, then defending that position from the Rainbow Lamborghini.
Actually, an interesting stat on Grease Monkey. He's catched. I mean, the stats say that he is the one that gets the most positions every race, I think. Yeah, it says that he actually gets 6 positions gained every race.
Wow.
So, yeah, he was further back in the field, I remember, in this race. So certainly the statistics do not lie. He has moved up a fair few positions and is about to maybe get another one. I mean, that hairpin there is so deadly. It's been a lot of passing going in through there. I mean, enabling passes through there.
Indeed, and that's just ahead of them. I don't think that's not Storm. That's that's Howie, who's unfortunately our 23rd and last run at the moment. He had an incident in lap 1 that has pretty much ruled him out, but look at that. That was Grease Monkey and Jay side by side. Oh, that's close. The Rainbow Lamborghini of Grease Monkey flying on the inside of turn 1 to take that 11th spot, and Lindholt's got himself a penalty now. He didn't want to be left out of the penalty board, so he's now put his name on there. Oh, the Audi having a think about it. Either he's run wide or he had a bit more pace, or both. But he's slotted behind Grease Monkey. That's Jay Cool having to rethink that. The Z4 of Howie will have to get out of the way at a suitable time. And he's been given a flash of the lights to remind him. Ooh, steady, Howie, don't get in the way. And he's jumped. Yeah, he stayed on the outside of that turn, of turn 9. It would have cost him the least amount of time and not disrupted that battle that has just passed him. So Jay Cool continues to chase Grease Monkey. Storm continues to chase WMDR Martin. That's for 9th. Zero Stefan is still kind of in touch with Dopey. That's about 1 second there, just over. Lindholt on the back of Matster. That battle carries on. Neptune and Kravgar. That battle carries on. We're coming up to the closest stage of the race. Exodus and Shaggy Dan. That battle carries on, along with Flask and Ryan Winch. That battle carries on, but interestingly, Ripper still hasn't come in. Unless he's pitted, and I've forgotten that he's pitted. If he's done that, he's played an absolute corker of a strategy.
Oh, look at the difference between lap time, though, with the Ripper and Capo.
Oh, 1/1000th of a second to Ripper's favour. Stunning effort.
That's not going to be enough, though, to do the overcut here with the Ripper in that free air in front. Where is Capo? Is he battling someone?
Capo? No, he's got nowhere near him. He's coming through turn 9 now. Migzorn is position-wise ahead of him. There he is coming into turn 10. That set of lights behind him is Capo. That's 7.2 or thereabouts between the two cars. So neither of them in any danger. Where is Ripper? What's he choosing to do? He's coming into 14 now. He's got a bit of traffic ahead. What's he going to do? Let's see if he brings it in. There he goes.
Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah, I thought he was staying. Yeah, I thought he was staying very hard to the inside line. That was close. No, he did.
I was hurt that he was going to get a penalty.
I thought he was going to get a penalty for that as well, because it's downhill actually up to the pit entry line. No, he didn't get a penalty for that, but I was like, oh, that's as close as you would ever dare be. But let's see.
To be the fastest pit entry speed.
Yeah.
This race.
So there's Capo on the map. You can see the white. Oh wow, that was a stunningly short stop there for the Ripper. He may well have done this, but like you said earlier, until that is a long pit stop. There is Migzorn. Migzorn's taken the race lead. Where is the?
Going to be close.
It is going to be close. Let's get on board with Capo. Looks he right. There he is. Oh, it's going to be a battle into turn 1.
Oh, it's actually just enough to shut the door on Capo.
No, he couldn't do it. The Ripper's done it. My goodness. That was a That was a stunning stop though from the Ripper. He was that's where the difference was. Capo was stationary for longer. That is exactly what. That was the only thing that's really done. Oh, the lap times exactly as we saw were absolutely identical. Oh wow, that's a big moment for Capo. Oh, he was. That must have made him kind of hold his breath as he was staring at the wall. But he's pushing hard. He wants that lead back. He's got less than 5 laps to do it. Migzorn, I would imagine, has got to come in again. Well, come in for his stop. I'm not sure. If he's already been in, then he's done pretty well strategy-wise. But yeah, with that mistake, that's already opened a second between the Ripper and Capo. And Ripper's deep into turn 10. And the one person you definitely don't want to be giving time to is the Ripper.
Yes, it's so fun with these guys that are like the fastest in the race. They're kind of running their own little time attack race when they're alone, and then suddenly they start fighting, and then they start making these mistakes because like they know this is the competition and this is where they have to do everything they can now. So Capo has that. I can't math today. So that's 8 to 10 tenths of a second gap to Ripper in front.
Yeah, near enough. Of course, it bounces around when they're in the braking zone. Yeah, it's sort of 7 tenths, give or take. It's difficult to math it when the numbers keep changing like that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's had a good run out of that last turn. I keep going to that one. It's not a good camera. He's had a pretty good run. Has Capo from that last turn. Of course, 2:25 was a Ripper's out lap. And keeping it close. Oh, we have a Tier 1 driver joining us in chat in the form of Heidi. Who's had a bit of an argument with... he's turned his... I believe Heidi, if I remember correctly, is in the Z4 this season. Certainly was last time. And as I said, spin, and spin with 180 degrees. So
yeah, it might just be a correlation there with Howie, considering Howie is the only one in the Z4 here as well, and he's in last, so it might just be the car.
Maybe.
That's not so soon.
Doesn't like the dark times around Dubai. And there you can see the delta. 5, he was half a second down on his previous best. Maintains 7 and a bit tenths between the two cars. The two Lambos continuing to fight as Mazda gets another track limits penalty. He's in 13th. In a battle between himself, Jekyll, Lindholt and Kravgart. But I want to keep an eye on what is essentially the race leagues. I think Migzorn has got to come in again. I keep saying again, he hasn't been in, I don't believe. As Exodus now gets on the track time penalty board, I believe. He's down in 19th. Capo closing into about half a second then. Oh, wow, and again you're seeing those two different lines come into play, with Capo sticking hard to the apex line, the Ripper going for that wider exit through 14 and 15, now into 16 again. On board with Capo. There's an amazing amount of opposite lock going on with everybody in pretty much every corner. Far more than I was expecting. And Capo was a tenth and a bit quicker last time around. Both of them were a good half a second at least quicker than Migzorn. It's not going to be enough if Migzorn doesn't have to come in. And it is Migzorn's a race to lose. If he does have to come in at all, that will put him probably down towards 6th or thereabouts. But Capo wants that extra podium spot. He wants to be the Ripper. Capo's got more to lose, bear in mind, because Capo is our season leader. Whereas the Ripper, joined the season late, is down in 9th with a 1st and a 17th. So Capo may just choose to kind of either try and force the mistake, may not necessarily try and make the move.
Yeah, looking at the standings right now, the Ripper is in 9th and he has 54 points, and Capo has 141. So the gap between them is 87 points. Yeah, so the Ripper is going to end up in 5th or something like that if he actually manages to get the win here, and that's, yeah, it's about momentum. If he can keep this up and Capo falls off a little bit, the Ripper might just be able to snatch this. Could
well do. Racing drivers are racing drivers at the end of the day. They will try and get any position that is available to them. Lap 28 of 30. Streaming on down towards turn 14 again. Ripper goes for that wider line. Capo again staying a bit tighter to the apex. Fairly negligible difference from these two coming through 15. Oh, and again, and Migzorn is indeed in, as I thought he would be. I didn't think he'd played that much of a decent strategy. Oh, and that looks interesting. You can see how defensive the black and green Lambo's gone. Penultimate lap. The Ripper was not confident from his exit of turn 16. Back into the racing line and very defensive from the Ripper. The Capo is just piling the pressure on. He wants to force that mistake. And the Capo 2/10 quicker than the Ripper in the last lap. But of course he's just got to be very careful. He knows where... I guess get the feeling it's going to be this lap when Capo makes a move, if he chooses to do it. And Migzorn comes out in 6th, so actually in 7th. Murphy's just gone past him, so not a bad guess on that one. But all eyes on these two at the moment. Who is going to take the checkered flag?
Not coming through. It looks like Kappa is coming through that turn 1 there. Kappa just using every inch of the racetrack there, and he knows this track really well, considering how he is in that position in the first place. So yeah, the two titans of this race coming together now, and as you can see, Kappa just...
Oh! Wow! Ripper just was very early on the brakes, catching Capo out. And that's going to be damage to both cars. Capo allowing the Ripper back into the lead position, but straight back on his case. That was a bit of an unusual moment there. It looked like Ripper kind of hit the brakes at the right time, but just maybe Capo overshot the braking point. Not entirely sure what happened there, but here we go again. Less than 3/10 between the two now. Through 13, who's going to do what coming through 14? And again, they're remaining in the line. Oh, that's close. He's making himself very obvious in the mirrors. Capo making a very narrow line through 15. That has cost him some time. You can see visually the gap that's opened up as they come around 16 for the penultimate time. Start of the last lap, less than a second between the two.
Yeah, certainly Capo has aero damage in the front there, considering how the Ripper's car flew through there. So what looked like happened there was Capo just might have been a little bit faster than the Ripper on that part of the track, and just knows how to use the braking a little bit better. But he didn't really expect the Ripper. Yeah, a little bit of lag on my end there, but yeah, it looks like Capo catching the car. So yeah, it looks like Capo is just... I mean, the guys are faster than each other on different parts of the track, and it looked like Capo is just a little bit faster than the Ripper on that part. Not just a little bit, considering how the Ripper's car just flew through there. I just can't believe that Capo doesn't have any aero damage after that in the front there, so Capo is certainly going to have some oversteer coming through. It looks like it as the gap is just increasing to almost 2 seconds now.
Indeed, over 2 seconds now. The Ripper is just gone as far as Cap is concerned. So that was exactly what I was saying before. Just one mistake can completely unravel it. But there's 5.5 seconds between Capo and actually touring back up into 3rd, considering he fell quite a bit on the opening laps, but climbed his way back up to 3rd. Dopey there in 4th with Zero Stefan in 5th. But it looks like it's going to be, unless of course Ripper makes a big mistake in these closing few corners, which would be exceedingly uncharacteristic of him. This looks like he's going to be a second win from 3 races for the Ripper through 13 into 14. And he can choose whatever line he likes, as Capo is not close enough to make a challenge. There is the black and red Lamborghini through 15. Into turn 16 for the final turn. Capo's actually given himself a track limits penalty on the back of that, so that ended that one. But your winner here in Dubai, and I think he's happy about that, is the Ripper in the red and green Lamborghini. Capo crosses the line in 2nd. Here comes TM Touring to cross the line in 3rd in the Mercedes. Nicely done. Dopey claims 4th. Zero Stefan 5. And Murphy in the Porsche. Around the final turn then, he's going to fend off Migzorn for that 6th place. Oh, that's deep there, Audi. And there is Migzorn in 7th. Ex-Cole, haven't really seen him all race long in the ACR coloured Audi. Pad Warrior of WMDR Martin just manages to fend Storm off to hang on to 9th. Storm 10. Here comes Grease Monkey. Whoa, that's again determined in the Rainbow Lamborghini for 11th. Mazda. Now Mazda and Lindholm both have penalties, so we'll see if they shuffle around after they cross the line. Mazda gave himself another penalty on that last corner, but remains in 12th. Oh no, he was demoted to 13th, so he could have that
14.
Continue with the fall.
Took that position.
Well, interest. What was his penalty? It was 6 seconds, so he may actually ask for that to be contested because that's 2 positions there. But Jay promoted to 13th as a result. Dorr across the line in 15th. Kravgar 16th. Neptune in the McLaren in 17th. Shaggy Dan. That's Exodus. That's a sprint to the line. Wow, that was close between Shaggy Dan and Exodus, but Shaggy Dan hangs on just to 18th place from Ryan Winch 19. Flask or Bacon, I think it was called. Bacon or pork or something like that. I forget what that actually translated. Exodus actually demoted down to 21st, I think, in the end. Oh, what a race, but well done to the Ripper for taking that one. He actually had the fastest lap by half a second in the end, but with the penalties on board, that was 3-second gap between himself and Kappa. Look at the gap between Dopey and Zero Stefan. Goodness me, what's that? 9 thousandths of a second between those two with the Dopey's penalty. But what was the other one? That was Shaggy Dan was very close, wasn't he? That was that ended up being half a second, I think, in the end. Oh, what a race!
Yep. So I'm going to go see if I can grab those guys for an interview, so be right back.
Let's see who we can find.
Yeah, I muted us. I mean, I'm going to jump down there and ask them. So
yeah, okay. Yeah. I'll stay up here. That was fun. TM Touring.
Hello guys, we are not live yet. I'm just gonna unmute and then we go. In the commentary box, I have them with me. It's both Turing and the Ripper. Capo does not have a mic, unfortunately, so he's joining us. But yeah, man, what are those last 2 laps, the Ripper? What do you think happened there?
What do you mean?
Yeah, you had an incident with Capo.
Yeah, I had a bit my brakes in this corner for the last few laps. And run a little bit wide, and I think he ran into me. Don't hit the brakes that well, I think, and it's nothing happened. No damage at all.
Yeah, of course. Congratulations on that win, though. I mean,
thanks.
You just come into this league like a bullet. We commented on how if you keep this momentum, you might actually just snitch take the win from Capo in the championship title. Do you think you can keep this up?
Will be very, very difficult because he's so fast. I had to give all I have to catch him. And, yeah, it's a nice opponent, I guess.
Yeah. What was going to your mind though when you came out of the pits?
What again?
When you came out of the pits with the Capo just behind you.
Yeah, it was like, oh my god, it's so close! And then he went left behind me, and yeah, I got a little bit more speed than him, and be on P1.
Yeah, so congrats then. It's good to see we have a mix-up in the field here, and Turing, I think that was a good recovery drive, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, that start was kind of horrific, but managing to get back onto the podium still was a good result.
Yeah, good thing there, as you can see, and as you missed both the first and second round, you are certainly up there in the lead, in my opinion. And speaking about momentum, yes, you finished third and then second, and then third again now. Do you think you can keep getting these podiums?
I mean, that's what I plan to do, but I feel like Capo's going to be uncatchable at this race. He gets these good results.
Yeah, it's very fast. I can see Kodiak has muted his... Oh, he's unmuted his...
No, I'm here.
Hello. Yes, so looking at the team championship as well, you are in the Dane train with Ticklish Picklewickle. Yeah, TPW has been struggling a little bit. I think, did he retire? No, that was Midway Coma that retired this race. What was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he TTW finished a lap.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna bring up the calendar for next round. Do you have any thoughts about the next one? It's gonna be, yes, it's gonna be Sakito in November, actually. Have you done any testing yet?
A bit from the time trial. It's a very difficult track. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, please come back at next Wednesday. It's going to be a good race, in my opinion, as we have Capo still in the lead. I'm going to bring up the points so we can see again. Capo still in a comfortable lead in first place with 141 points. It's going to be extended even further after this race. And then we have Dor, who finished in 14th around. He is going to jump down to Murph, who's going to jump into second. Yeah, so a little bit of shuffling around, and then Grease Monkey in fourth. And Grease Monkey's stats is, I mean, he finished 12th, I think, this race. He has the stats for the most overtakes in a single race. It says that his average qualifying position is in 12th, and then he usually finishes in 6th. So, yeah, he's one of those that don't do so well in qualifying, but just a monster in the race. So, it's going to be a good battle for next Wednesday. So thank you, of course, to Kodiak for joining me in the commentary box. It's so much better to have someone with me every time.
It's a great pleasure. I'd always enjoy being alongside you, and we will indeed be back next time.
That was a really good exit. I mean, outro.